when they got started, there was like a little bit of fear or anxiety because we know that we're good, but are we good enough to transform this, quickly? And we thought, well, maybe it's going to take 5 years. I mean, we don't know. We're going to do our best. We're going to just apply the principles.
And that's really what this project is really about, is putting all the relationships in the right place so that they can thrive and bring a hopeful future for all of us in the lands down below, with our springs coming back to life and more water available for all. And so when we first came out here, this entire thing was a 3-acre quarry on this side. Just a single plant, they said, was growing here.
We were active participants in the degradation of this particular landscape. And so I think that this is a good example of somewhere where we should come in and balance some of the things that we did to totally degrade it.
And then to see it get turned around in less than a year is amazing. And I love the fact that now we're working on the south side and we're working on further out. We jumpstart that engine and then it just continues to build on itself.
This project was an old quarry site. There was no topsoil. It was just pure caliche. We did a soil test. It was basically pure calcium. And it was a challenge, but the problem is the solution, is a kind of famous saying in permaculture. So
this is a site out in Fisher, Texas, at the top of the watershed. A very unique piece of property because half of this property sheds off to Canyon Lake, which then turns down to the Comal River and heads out to the ocean. The other half, this side, sheets off at the very top of the watershed down into Wimberley, turns into the Blanco River, and wraps around all the way to San Marcos until it heads out towards the ocean. And so when we first came out here, this entire thing was a 3-acre quarry on this side. Just a single plant, they said, was growing here. And so for about a month, we just scratched very slowly, very gently with an excavator to build a mound of caliche dust that you couldn't walk on or else you'd just sink up to your ankles in. And after that was shaped, then we went ahead and put biochar, worm castings, worm compost, composted topsoil from organic cow dairy.
And we created what are called berm and swales. It's basically just a little trough. And then on the downhill side of that, there is a little valley that we've created. So it's like a giant speed bump. And it's all on contour, which means it's all at the same elevation. So water will fall down the slope and it will get stuck, it'll get captured, and it'll sit level here on the side of the hill. And that will allow for the water time to actually infiltrate into the ground. And we've created these micro wetlands, these micro wet spots that are fertile areas that we then went and seeded with a variety of native wildflowers and native grasses. Here's a great example of a more mature brush berm with just this cedar log that we laid down here, and then a bunch of detritus is building up. And we have this big blue stem growing, super happy, healthy, desirable grass that is established from seed in this area. And you can see this wall of green that is going to be, starting to move its way back as more and more detritus is captured and water is slowed in this area. And so this is what we're looking for, is that revegetation with a really subtle, small, low energy intensive intervention. What you see here is the groundwork or the infrastructure that we've developed to help support the formation of a savanna ecosystem here. And as we've talked about, the berms and swales are creating these micro wet spots. A lot of North America used to be wetland, actually. And so we're slowing down the erosion, we're capturing the water on site. We're also in a contributing zone to the aquifers, so it's really important on these hillsides to have interventions like this. And then we the client thinned the juniper trees, and we kept as much of that carbon on site as possible, so you can vaguely see that there's a mulch layer all over the ground there. So we're starting to increase the organic matter in the soil, We spread biochar on all these berms and swales. That's also going to simulate what would have taken maybe hundreds of years of, prescribed burning to develop this like char content in the soil, which is something that probably did happen with grasslands, although I mentioned it's a little bit of a debate in this area how frequently it was. But we knew indigenous people were using fires as a management tool. And so we've reseeded these berms and swales, and in between the features that we've created here, we're looking to see a profusion of grasses, potentially hundreds of different types of grasses and forbs over time. And that would represent, I think, over 5-10 years, the reestablishment of a healthy ecosystem that is in decline in our area. And we're using the juniper trees as or not using them, but we're preserving them as a normal part of these ecosystems and keeping them, and there's still plenty of space for that profusion of pasture that people are looking for.
So here we are mid-August. We finished this phase of the project just about 3 weeks ago, and we seeded it with just a very diverse mix from Native American seed, their horned-toad restoration mix, which is basically all of their mixes combined to have the highest diversity of everything that they grow. And so there's 50 varieties of wildflower and 33 varieties of native Texas grasses. And so you can see here's a little nitrogen fixing Illinois bundleflower. We have some grasses coming up and just a whole variety. The day that we finished seeding this, we got in a 1-inch rain, and here we are 3 weeks later in the middle of August, and the whole system is starting to come back to life. And it's just a reminder of there's no normal rainfall in Central Texas ever. Even this magical 34 inches of precipitation average, if you look at the rainfall, it's 60 inches one year, 12 inches another. And so, I think with all of this rainwater harvesting, earthworks, everything that we're doing, just do it now and you can guarantee it will rain someday. And Mary Reynolds is a great woman who coined the term ARCs, acts of restoration kindness. But also, to the more biblical story, we're creating an ark. We're anticipating a massive flood at some point in the near future. We're putting all of the life forms and all of the minerals into a space where water will be held and captured. And then eventually, we're gonna come back in and plant hundreds of small trees right on the edge of this berm. So then we'll get a big wind erosion barrier, more shade, more breakage between forest and pasture, and we're just increasing the amount of boundary and surface area of forested ecosystem right next to pasture ecosystem, right next to forest, and we're getting a lot more surface area of water in contact with land, and just trying to increase the amount of surface area and biodiversity and difference of habitat across the landscape. The thing that I've learned from this is, as you learn all of these steps and ecological principles, have the faith that you know what you're talking about and go for it. There's so much degraded landscape across the planet that it needs courageous individuals just going for it, surrounding themselves with a team so you're not being reckless or blowing budgets or spending too much money, but surround yourself in a solid team of mentors and elders and correct references, and then don't be afraid to be bold and go for a big project like this. When we started this, I was a little nervous and queasy because we were handed the reins to develop massive water harvesting on a very steep hillside that was a quarry, just an absolute moonscape, and the results that we've had have been super beneficial. And I think the last thing that I'd add is, as we're doing these bold moves forward in regeneration, remember to acknowledge and be gentle in request for support from nature itself. So when we started this, we gave a blessing, which was just an acknowledgement to these trees and to this earth and to the wind that blows through the trees and to the insects that lives here, and just basically say, hey, we're gonna do our best to work with this in co-creation with the living, natural, invisible forces and beings and energies that live here, and we would like your support in any way, shape, or form that they show up. And I know myself, it helps my heart, my spirit, my soul to do this kind of work and to trudge through the hard, hot days when it feels like you have a team that's outside of just your human cadre.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the film. This is part of a bigger project that I was paid by Symbiosis to do for their channel. That's why there's a paid sponsorship thing on this one. This is a kind of short film excerpt, so to speak, from the much longer film that I made for their channel that'll be coming out soon. It's a little different than the normal videos I would make for my channel because it's made for them, obviously, but if you guys want to learn way more about specifically what they did and go really into the hyper details of all the processes and methodology that goes into what they're doing, be on the lookout for that video. It's about 40 minutes long and it is super insightful and has so much awesome detail in it. Other stuff, real quick. First of all, we hit 1,000 subscribers, so thank you so much to everybody who has watched and subscribed to this point. I cannot thank you enough. The growth and pace at which this channel has grown has kind of far exceeded my expectations, so I'm excited to see where we go from here. As a result, I'd love to do a kind of Q&A about really anything, but yeah, feel free to leave your questions and comments below. If there's enough, I'll make a video Q&A response. Otherwise, I'll just answer them in the comments below. And then last piece, I sound like a broken record, but we have a Patreon and we have YouTube memberships. They're the best way to support the channel. They're what make these videos possible. So please, if you really want to support the channel and want more videos to come out faster, please check us out on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. And then, the last piece on that one too is, if you're a company and you want to sponsor a video, please reach out to me. Additionally, just like Symbiosis, if you're a company in the state of Texas doing something cool and you think we would potentially have a cool video idea, or you want us to make a video for your channel, and or you have a YouTube channel, whatever, please reach out to me. Let's talk and let's make it happen. So, bye.